Hello and welcome to Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. I am Colred. Thank you for joining me for my second video of the day. Now, I don't normally make 2 videos in a day, but there is something that is going on right now that I mentioned in my earlier weekly planning video that I want to expand upon. And that is this tournament. This is a spider tournament using only epic champions. And you can see that it is rewarding prism crystals or prism shards, whatever that is, which would give us an opportunity to get a free pull here for this summon pool event, which is a very good pool of champions. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a couple of reasons why you might want to consider doing this tournament. I'm going to expand upon that. I did mention that in my earlier video. But I want to really show you that this is a very good idea for everybody, even if you're doing the current fusion event. In fact, if you're doing the current fusion event, it's almost guaranteed that you should do this tournament. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to build a really good team to clear this tournament out of epic champions. And I think it should be accessible to most players who can do the fusion. So if you're already at the point where you're going to be successful with this fusion, then you're likely, not everybody, but you're likely to have a chance to complete this spider tournament pretty easily. So we're going to cover all that in this second video. I hope you're ready for it. Let's get started. Just a quick reminder to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and consider joining our Discord community. Also, don't forget about my Takeover Tuesday live stream that happens tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's when I give away free account takeovers to members of my Discord community. It's really fun. I hope to see you there. Thanks so much. Now let's get back to the video. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is convince you that doing this spider tournament is a good idea. And I think it is, regardless of whether or not you're going for the current fusion event. The only deciding factor, I think, is if doing this event would somehow mess up your fusion event. And I don't think that's likely. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to show you why. So first of all, this summon pool is a very good summon pool. There's some really great legendaries here. There are 2 or 3, actually 3 legendaries here I would really like. I need a Kymar desperately. I don't have one on this account. Duchess would be fantastic, and so would Theodore. Those are 3 absolutely top tier legendaries that I could get. In addition, if you don't have a Lady Kimmy or a Podrick or an Ancora, these are all top-notch champions. I think Morgane is great for Amius and Cintranos. She's good in some other places. Wither is absolutely fantastic. She's a really durable champion that can add a lot of value to an account, can also be a solo champion. And then this is the one guy I don't know that much. I did look at him. He's not bad. He doesn't strike me as fantastic. Glycade of the Meltwater. But if you need a reviver in the Sylvan Watchers factions, he is an AoE reviver, which is always a good thing to have. The epics are absolutely fantastic. You have Deacon Armstrong here. If you don't have a Deacon, you want to definitely try to get a Deacon. Also, same thing with Stag Knight. You've got Rector Drath. You've got Ugo here, who is great for Hydra. So the pool, also Doom Priest. I mean, you've got Gorgorab. Absolutely fantastic pool. I don't think there's a bad champion in this pool. Like, I'm looking for a bad champion, and I'm like, there aren't any bad champions. There are some maybe slightly above average champions. Like, even Ilfrig is decent. Even Tagore is, he's good. Like, he's usable. Every single epic here is usable. Every single legendary is usable. There isn't a bad champion in the bunch. So if you get a free pull, you're going to get a champion that's worth having. Maybe it's a copy and you can empower your epic or whatever it happens to be. So I definitely think the pool is worth it. Now let's take a look at the tournament. Now the tournament is epics only, but as you can see, you have this reward track here. Now Spider is fast, right? Spider doesn't take a really long time. Even with an epic team, it might take 90 seconds to clear, maybe 2 minutes if you're going with a particularly slow team, but it's going to be faster than a dungeon tournament for any other dungeon, especially like Ice Golem, which is awful, right? That's really slow, or Fire Knight. But so this is going to be pretty fast. So the question comes down to energy. Is it worth spending your energy here instead of putting it into a tournament for the fusion? If we look here, one of the things that you'll notice is there are 3 Dungeon Divers events, right? This one on Tuesday the 9th, that's right here in the middle of the screen. That is the second one. We've already finished the first one. Now, what I did is I completed my Fire Knight tournament inside of the second Dungeon Divers. That's this Dungeon Divers down here. So I did my Ice Golem and my Fire Knight inside Dungeon Divers 1. That means I was going to skip Dungeon Divers number 2. I was just going to skip it because there are extra fragments in this fusion event. But the other reason why I was going to skip it is because there wasn't a really efficient way to do this Dungeon Divers event. The only tournament that was going to be available is this Dragon tournament and Champion Training. So I didn't want to put all, 3,000, 4,000 energy into Champion Training to go into this Dungeon Divers event. That's not super efficient. Now, Dragon Tournament is nicely efficient with this Dungeon Divers, but you only need 2k energy for a Dragon Tournament. You need 5k energy for Dungeon Divers. So if I just skip that, I could put my Dragon Tournament into the Dungeon Divers 3, and then the Spider Tournament at the end into Dungeon Divers 3. That would only require maybe 1,000 extra energy to complete that Dungeon Divers. If I need silver, I'd put it into Spider. If I wanted gear or, rewards, I'd probably put it into Dragon. So that was originally the plan. But here's the thing. Now we've got this extra Spider Tournament. And this Spider Tournament is not part of the Fusion event. But again, it's only going to take probably about 2,000 energy to complete this Spider Tournament. It's a normal tournament. It's not a turn attack tournament or anything like that. So about 2,000 energy. That means I could dump the 2,000 energy from this Spider Tournament into Dungeon Divers event number 2 here. And then I could dump the Dragon Tournament into Dungeon Divers event 2 here. And so again, now I'm going 4,000 energy into Dungeon Divers event 2, and I only need that 1,000 extra energy. That lets me potentially skip Dungeon Divers event 3 and the Spider Tournament at the end, or I could do it if I wanted for extra fragments or extra silver or whatever. I could also potentially skip some other event. Another reason why we don't want to skip, this Dungeon Divers also has Prism Crystals. So we're already going for the Champion Fragments, and then we're going to get Prism Crystals as well. So that's, again, another reason not to skip this Dungeon Divers event. So it feels very efficient to do this additional Spider Tournament, and it's not going to mess up your Fusion event. I can't imagine a way in which it would mess up your Fusion event. I really can't. Unless you screw it up somehow, unless you do the wrong thing at the wrong time, and you put the energy in the wrong place, I don't think it's going to mess you up. I think it's actually going to help you. But you're still going to complete your Fusion, and you're going to get these extra rewards. Plus, we're going to get 2 pulls from this summon pool event. So this summon pool lasts for 4.5 days. Now it is Monday night, which means this is going to last through Friday. So you can hold on to these summon pools and pull them during your champion chase for the fragment event. It's actually going to help you. It's actually going for this Spider Tournament will actually help you more than skipping it, because it's going to get you at least an epic champion during that champion chase. It's going to make that champion chase even easier. So I'm pushing this right now. I think this is the best thing that everybody can do if they're going for the Fusion event. If you're not going for the Fusion event, then you can decide whether or not you want to go for these, this summon pool event. But it just seems like a really nice synergy. And I just kind of discovered it this morning because I didn't know all of these things were happening. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yes, this is absolutely the thing that we should all be doing. So this is why I'm putting out this second video today. Now, I just spent, 7 to 8 minutes trying to convince you to do this. Hopefully you're already on board. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to build teams for Spider. So now this is an epic only team. I'm going to be aiming for stage 20. Stage 20 is easily the most efficient use of my time and energy, but you could do a lower level. You could do 16. 16 is a good place to do. You could do 11. You could do 10. 10 is a very good place to do. So if you're just trying to get the points and you can't necessarily do stage 20, then you can, always build a Spider team for lower. But I'm going to assume that we're doing stage 20. And so I'm going to build a team around that. Now, let's talk about the Spider fight just a little bit. You can always come here and check out the guide. But basically what's going to happen is at stage 20, HP burns are really good. You can put an AoE HP burn on all of the spiderlings and use that to kill the boss. But you still have the option of using direct damage. So it's pretty flexible right here. Now, a Spiderling tank is going to be necessary. We can decide if we're going AoE HP burn or if we're going direct damage or maybe a mix. We can also talk about turn meter control, because turn meter control is really helpful on normal Spider. All right, so what I've done is I've pulled up all of the relevant skills that I think that we want to use on hellhades.com. So let's go and look over there. Okay, so one of the things I love about hellhades.com is you can pull up these lists of champions. Basically, if you go to the main page, you just scroll down here. On the right-hand side, there are these 4 little boxes, and it says Raid Shadows, Legends, Quick Links. I love these quick links. I use them all the time. So you just go to the debuff that you want and say you're looking for HP burn. You come down here, find HP burn. You click on that, and this will give you a list of all of the champions that have an HP burn skill in the entire game. And it kind of categorizes them. So you can see at the top, it says HP burn AoE. And then if you go down, it'll say HP burn target. And if you keep going down, it'll say HP burn random. So you can just come here and see all of the HP burn AoE champions. And as you can see, there are 5 epics that are AoE HP burn champions. Now, Akoth the Seared is a free champion that comes from Doom Tower. I think he comes from Doom Tower normal. So this is a relatively accessible champion. Most people can get him kind of early-ish in the mid-game, and that gives you an AoE HP burn champion. He's a very good champion. He's absolutely fantastic. As you can see, he's rated 5 stars here for Spider. If you look at his kit, he's got this AoE HP burn. It has a 100% chance when you're going up against the Spider because it's 20% additional chance for each enemy. He's also got a second AoE that puts a shield up and, let's see, puts a shield equal to this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. So it gives you more survivability. By the way, if you happen to use Akoth and you can, of course, go after his duo, Ryan the Conjurer. It's good to have a reviver. And she also has an AoE weaken, which is nice. So she's a nice duo. She's going to give you that revive that you may need. Again, you can see she's a 4.5 star for Spider. And I think she's also a Doom Tower champion. I don't remember when. I think she might be like the 4th champion or something like that. Let's see if it says. Yeah, I don't know. But she's a very good epic. So if you happen to have this duo, then I would say go ahead and use them as a cornerstone for your team. But again, I'm going to pull up all of the HP burn champions and give you a quick rundown of these. I think that Skrank is the best, and probably Akoth and Mordecai are very good. And then Ultimate Gaelic is maybe enough to get it done. But if you haven't built Ultimate Gaelic for this, or like already, if you haven't built them already, I wouldn't build them just for this. Achak the Wenderin is good for Spider, but he's not an AoE HP burner against Spider. His skill is conditional. It either places a freeze or an HP burn, depending. And he's going to always place a freeze in Spider. Now, that can be a good thing. We'll talk about that more, because the next thing that you may want to do is control the waves. So if you're trying to control the waves, you're looking for primarily stuns or freezes. So again, here are all the AoE stun champions. Again, we're looking at epics. Archmage Helmet is another Doom Tower champion. He's actually the very first Doom Tower champion. He's got an AoE stun. He's very good for this fight. I happen to like Hoskerul. I like Miscreated Monster. I think those are both very good champions for this fight. Husk can be very good as well. He provides double duty because he also has a max HP hit. So he's a nice damage dealer. But any of these champions are going to give you an AoE stun. Then we also have AoE freezes. That's where Ashak comes in, Cryodan, the blue. And Luria is good as well. I don't know about Jingle Hunter. I've never actually pulled a Jingle Hunter or built one, I don't think. But, so you have some epics in case you want to crowd control. Now, the crowd control can be good whether or not you're using an HP burn strategy or a direct damage strategy, because the less often the Spiderlings attack, the more likely you are to survive. It also speeds up the run. By having them locked down, you don't have to worry about their animations. So it's just faster. Their turns just click. Okay, so now let's talk about decreased speed. You can see I'm looking at the decreased speed target here, because I want a single target decrease speed if I'm using an HP burn strategy. If I'm using the HP burn strategy, I want the Spiderlings taking their turns quickly. because that'll actually speed up the fight. If I'm using a direct damage strategy where I'm not using HP burn, then I want to slow all of the spiderlings, because the less often they go, the less animations I have to deal with, and the less like attacks I have to deal with. And so that's better if we have slow on everybody. Now, if you're looking for a single target slow, I think one of the MVPs is going to be Stagnite. I think absolutely Stagnite is fantastic here because he's an AoE decrease attack, AoE decrease defense, and slow. It's perfect kit for Spider. Skathix is also phenomenal because I think he also gives you a cleanse and maybe a block debuffs. So he gives you a decreased speed on his A1. It's not as reliable. It's 50% chance. And then he has a remove all debuffs from all allies and a block debuffs and a shield on a 4-turn cooldown. So Skathix can absolutely be phenomenal. So I think those are probably my two favorite. Ruella is a close third. She's a single target champion, but she does have a little bit of turn meter control, which is nice. So her A1 has 3 chances of stealing 5% turn meter. That's just a little bit, but that's still pretty good. Plus, she has the decreased defense, weaken, and decreased speed, all for the boss. She also has some turn meter fill and increased crit rate for your team. She can hit pretty hard too. So another good decrease speed champion if you're looking for a single target. If you're looking for an AoE, you can go up here and see the AoE champions. There are some really good ones. I like White Dryad Naya. Sylar is also absolutely fantastic at controlling waves. So if you're going with a direct damage team, she's got an AoE A1, plus she's got an AoE turn meter reduction of like 40%. Plus the slow. Lady Annabelle is another good one, especially if you already have her in like regen. You can use her as, kind of a sustaining champ as well. Now, I do think a block debuffs champion can be highly useful. It's not absolutely necessary. You can go with a cleanser instead. My MVP here would be Maneater. If you have a 2 Maneater clan boss team, like a dual Maneater clan boss team, you've already got what you need. You are fine. Just put in your 2 Maneaters. You can probably throw in just about anybody else. You can do like High Katoon, 2 Maneaters, and whatever else you want, and you're fine. Like, you're going to be great. I like Sanguinia again for this, and also Skathix, but you can take a look at this and see who you have. I really think block debuffs is better than cleanse because you don't know about the timing of the spiders. Every speed tune is going to be a little bit different, but a block debuffs just blocks it. So that's great. Plus, Maneater has turn meter steal, and we're going to talk about that as well. So if we were trying to decrease the enemy's turn meter, I think there are several champions who are absolutely fantastic at this. Maneater is one of my favorites. Mordecai is actually great. He does double duty here. He has some turn meter decrease as well as that AoE HP burn, but his decrease is AoE. So you're going to decrease the turn meter of the spiders as well, which is maybe a little bit less efficient than you want it to be. Geomancer, obviously, absolutely fantastic. 100% turn meter steal. Fane is really nice. Not that much turn meter steal, but brings a weaken and a decreased defense and some poisons as well. I also like, again, you've got Achak here, Archmage Helmet, both give you a little bit of turn meter decrease. But there's another one here, Skimfos, the Consumed, also has a 100% turn meter steal. Plus, he has a cleanse for the team, so he brings a little bit of extra utility there, and he hits decently hard. Ursula the Mourner is also great. She has some A1 decreased turn meter, not a ton, but she also has an AoE revive, plus an AoE decrease defense. She also brings strengthen and all sorts of stuff. Absolutely fantastic if you want to bring in a reviver. So as you can see, there are a ton of champions that you can bring in here. If you're looking for damage, by the way, a single target damage hitter like Filja can be great, who does a little bit of double duty, or Skimfos. Both of these champions bring turn meter decrease. Maneater hits pretty hard, gives you that decrease attack as well. So anybody who does double duty is typically a better damage dealer than somebody who just hits hard. Although I would say if you're looking at like Whisper could do absolutely tons of damage. So consider bringing her in. You could also go with a blender composition. So if you have Ferric in the Fat, there is an option to bring in a blender composition, or at least an ally attack composition, maybe where you have turn meter control on the A1s of your champions. That might help. Or if you have like a Skull Crown and a Senesha, you can go with a true blender comp and just nuke out all the spiderlings. That's going to work as well. All right, so let's come in here to the game, and you can see the team that I've put together. Now, back in the day, I actually cleared Spider 20 for the first time with a level 50 Mordecai. Now, he was backed up by a bunch of legendaries and stuff. I think I had Razin Scarhide. I think I had I might have had Scylla the Drakes, or I don't know who I had. I don't remember. It was 3-4 years ago. But it was a long time ago. But I know he can do the job. Now, I also have a Skrank here, so I have 2 AoE HP burners. I don't need both. I also might not need a Reviver. If you go damage heavy enough and turn meter control enough, you might not even need heals or revives. And I do have 100% turn meter steal with my Maneater, and he's pretty fast. You throw in Deacon Armstrong, I'm going to be going pretty fast here. So I haven't put this into the AI. This is just a team, right? Now, granted, I've got good builds on these champions. None of them is like out of control. They're not crazy, but you can see I do have, blessings on them. I've got a +2 on my Deacon. But again, Skrank's level 15, Mordecai's level 55 star. I'm just going to go ahead and let level 20 run here. Now, one of the things you do want to consider is your Spiderling tanks. You want a weak affinity champion. In this case, I have 2 weak affinity champions. I have Mordecai and I also have Rector Drath. That should give me enough coverage where if Mordecai dies, I still have the HP burner in Skrank. And I also have another Spiderling tank. But you can really fill this role however you want. You could go with a neutral affinity spider tank that does work, but it can be a little bit harder to control. Now, if I wanted to take Mordecai out of the team and just go with Skrank as my HP burner, I could. I would obviously want to get him up higher than level 15. And I could just leave Rector Drath in as my sole Spiderling tank and then maybe bring like another cleanser or maybe another damage dealer, a second Maneater or something like that. You can see the spider boss really doesn't get a chance to go because I have enough speed here between the speed aura, the increased turn meter from Deacon and Mordecai, and just Maneater's speed. I think he's running at he might be running at 270. He might be running that fast. Could be like 250. I don't know. We'll take a look. But that he gets back around to his turn meter steal really quickly. Remember, when he successfully turn meter steals, he fills his own turn meter. So even though it's on a 4-turn cooldown, it often runs like it's on a 3-turn cooldown or a 3.5-turn cooldown. Let's see if he turn meter fills right here. Yep, he steals. The boss never gets a chance to heal, and it's going to take a minute 35 or so to finish this fight. All right. So it's not super fast. You can see my normal clear is 14 seconds, but it's still fast enough for this tournament to be very doable. If I actually leveled Skrank up to 60, I'm sure it would go faster because he would hit a lot harder. And again, I could potentially remove Mordecai. In fact, let's kind of mess around with this team and bring in maybe a non-HP burn team. See if we can find just a normal direct damage team that would work. Okay, so here's a team I put together that I thought could be interesting. Now, I think you can use Stagnite or Ruella. You don't need to do both. They both put in single target slow on the boss. So I like, the decreased defense from the AoE decreased defense from Stagnite. So if you're going for like a nuke all the Spiderling strategy, this could work really well. So I could pull him out. He's also not 60 for me yet. And he doesn't have masteries. You could certainly put in a champion like Runekeeper Dazdirk, who would give you turn meter fill plus a cleanse and a heal. It's an AoE cleanse and it's a heal for everybody. Plus you get that increased attack. So that means like Ruella is going to hit even harder. You could do like a Seeker. Seeker would give you a lot of turn meter fill plus again the increased attack. But as you can see, I am focused on single target damage right here, right? The idea is to hit the boss as hard as possible. Morag is going to give me a strengthen buff, which is going to help me withstand the Spiderling attacks. And then I do want, as much turn meter control as possible. I'm going to go without a healer. I'm going to see if that works. I could do this. That would give me some more wave clear, but let's just go single target. Let's see if I can find some single target damage. All right. So you can see like even just single target direct damage works. You can decide what combination you want to bring in. A Phoenix, that would be great. A Whisper is absolutely fantastic. You could bring in your Fane. You could bring in your Farrakhan the Fat. There's a lot of ways to get damage in here. Again, that slow really helps. A Ruella or a Stagnite can be really useful. If you want to control the waves, Sylar can be absolutely fantastic. So, you do have some options here. There's a lot of options. But speed matters and your damage matters. Like those things matter. You also need the accuracy to land the decreased turn meter. I think decreased turn meter is extremely important. You really want to bring that in. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the first Maneater so you get an idea of how fast he's running in order to basically control that turn meter on his own. So that's a pretty good speed. He does have the 300 accuracy he needs, and then 100% crit rate, and about 200% crit damage. So like not crazy build, not a crazy build, right? A good build, decent build. But I think he's a key component. If you don't have a Maneater, that's fine. You don't need a Maneater. If you have a Skimfos, again, that 100% turn meter steal. If you have a Filja that has a 100% turn meter steal. If you have a Geomancer, that's 100% turn meter steal. If you don't have some turn meter, then you're going to need a lot of AoE damage because you're going to have to burn down the Spiderlings completely because the boss is going to get turns and like eat them and heal up. And heal reduction doesn't work against the spider boss. So don't even worry about bringing that in. That's not a thing that you can do. I think everybody should be able to put together an epic team. And again, remember that if for whatever reason you can't do stage 20, you could certainly drop down and do stage 16 or stage 11. Like if I were going to come down here and do stage 16, you know, I might go with the direct damage. Like I wouldn't bother with the HP burns. I would go ahead and just build direct damage. Again, turn meter control is going to be helpful, but the boss is a little bit slower, so it's going to be even easier. So again, great opportunity to get some free resources, even if you're doing the fusion. And I hope that this provided you with some champions that you can consider putting together into a team. Again, you might even be able to get away with like some 50s if you're not doing stage 20, or even at stage 20, you saw I have a level 50 Mordecai. So you can get away with maybe a level 50 if you have a good reviver. Okay, so that is it. Let me know in the comments below. Are you going to be doing this tournament? Did I convince you? And also, what champions are you putting on your team? I'd love to hear your team compositions. Come to our Discord and share your screenshots as well. I'd love to see if somebody could go really fast and do like a 40-second or 30-second all epic team without like ridiculous, crazy god tier gear. I'd love to hear about that. All right, thanks so much for watching this second video of the day. I have been Colred, and I will see you in another video soon.